Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are looking to increase flexibility in the limbs, the joints and the spine, opening up the body progressively, playing where you're comfortable, modifying your movements where you need to, and easing your way into child pose at any time that you need to take a rest. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a kneeling frame, preferably into thunderbolt, with the knees together and the feet together, sitting back onto the heels. You're going to interlace the hands behind your head, making a little lattice with the fingertips. Tuck that lattice behind your head. Give me a little tilt of the pubic bone towards the 12 o'clock position so that your tailbone is tucked under and you've got a light little contraction through the core. Keep that contraction. Keep your elbows nice and wide. Take a big breath in to prepare, stretching through the points of your elbows. On an exhale, nod your chin to your chest and try to work with a little bit of resistance. So you're pushing forward slightly with your lattice hands, and at the same time, you're gently tugging back with your head while you nod the chin towards the chest and maybe hold it for 10 soft counts, finding that opposition in the stretch and reaching long and lengthened through your fingertips. Ease your way back to your neutral point and then start dipping your head back, working with resistance. So as you push back with the head, you resist with the hands and you hold for 10 soft counts. Keeping your elbow points nice and high, almost as if you were trying to reach through them for the ceiling. Ease your way back to neutral, still working with that opposition, pushing forward with the hands and resisting with the head. You're going to drop the left elbow down as if you were trying to reach through the elbow point for the floor, and you're going to hold that stretch, dropping the left elbow down towards the floor and reaching nice and high through the right elbow. Keep looking for that opposition behind the head. Ease your way back to center and take it to the other side. Dropping the right elbow down. Keep looking for that opposition behind the head, tugging forward slightly with the fingertips and resisting with the back of your hand while reaching long and lengthened through the elbow points. One reaching down towards the floor and the other one nice and high to the ceiling. Come back to your midway point and drop the arms long and lengthened at your side. Give me an undulating release through the shoulders, swimming one shoulder blade forward at a time and keeping the fingertips just soft and relaxed with no tension in the hands. Take a big breath in. Float your left arm behind you, rotating slightly to the trunk and taking an off-centered T-twist, looking over that left shoulder towards the back edge of your mat. Give me little spider fingertips on the floor behind you. Inhale to bring it back to center and exhale to take the twist in the opposite direction. Ease your way back to center. Find that little surrender position with the hands behind your head. Find your lattice of support and look for that opposition behind the head, pushing back with the head, resisting with the hands, while nodding forward and then holding for a slow count of 10, reaching long and lengthened through the elbow points, keeping your tailbone tucked under, belly button pulled in, and that slight contraction in the core. Keep your breathing long, relaxed, and even. Ease your way back to center, still keeping that opposition behind the head, and push back, almost as if you were trying to look with your chin point towards the ceiling. Keep the elbows tracking nice and long, and keep looking for that opposition behind the head. Ease your way back to neutral. Exhale to dip off center to the left, reaching long and lengthened through the elbow points, and looking for that opposition behind the head. Ease your way back to neutral and take the stretch to the right. opening up through the ribs. Keep working that opposition behind the head. Ease your way back to neutral. Drop the arms long and lengthened at your side and give me a back stroke this time. Soft little undulating motion through the shoulders, one at a time, tracing them backwards as if you were swimming a backstroke. Fingertips long and dangly at your sides, keeping that little tuck of your tailbone and the belly button pulled in. Drop the arms long and lengthened at your side. This time, see if you can give me a whole flat hand on the floor behind you, or stick to the fingertips if your range of motion is limited as you trace that little half T frame, looking over the left shoulder towards the back edge of your mat. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale to take your slightly off-center twist to the other side. Ease your way back to a neutral line and find a soft 4-point kneeling frame on your mat. Hands stacking underneath your shoulders and the knees stacking underneath your hip points. You're going to round out for me in a cat shape, nodding your chin towards your chest and almost hollowing out through the belly. From your cat shape, you're going to thread your left arm underneath your right, dropping to the side of your head. Pause here for a breath or two. Come back to center, round out in cat, and take your thread to the other side. Coming to rest on the side of your head, pausing here, trying to keep your hips softly stacked over your knees. Ease your way back to center. Push back into extended child. Big toes traveling towards the center line with the knees softly splayed out. Take a nice extended stretch here, almost walking back through the palms of your hands and sinking the heels and the bums back as far as you can. Come through 4-point kneeling, rounding out in cat. And then thread that right hand underneath the left, coming to rest on the side of your head. Maybe this time floating the top arm into a soft T-frame. Ease your way back to center, round out in cat, and thread to the opposite side. As you come into position, either keeping both hands connected to the floor or floating the right hand up towards the ceiling. Find your way back to your 4-point kneeling frame and then push back into child pose. Big toes together, knees softly splayed out. Walking back through the palms of your hands and trying to connect softly bum bones to heels. Let's do that one more time. Round out in cat. Looking for that stretch into the shoulders and the lower back. And then thread to the left. Right arm underneath the left armpit. As you connect to the mat, stay here. Or swim the left arm up and behind you, rotating that hand in and reaching for the opposite hip bone. Pause here. Ease your way back into 4-point kneeling. Round out in cat. And then thread to the other side. Floating up, trying to tuck to the opposite hip bone. Keeping your breathing long and lengthened and relaxed. Ease your way from here back into 4-point kneeling before pushing back into child pose, arms long and lengthened in front of you, and just take a little extended stretch. Keep your breathing long and lengthened. Come through 4-point kneeling. Bump your hips forward through the 4-point kneel and find a kneeling up dog frame. Nice and strong through the shoulders, stretching into the lower belly area and the tops of your thighs. Then see if you can lift the kneecaps up off the floor, coming to rest on the bridges of your feet. Drop down on the right side, almost knife edging both feet as you look over the left shoulder towards the back edge of your mat. Ease your way back to center and take it to the other side, keeping strong through the abs as you take it side to side. Ease your way from here into a down dog frame, stretching the tops of your toes before tucking the toes under and dropping low through the heels. Trying to push back as much weight as you can into the heels. And then bending slightly through the knees, but pushing the weight back into the bum and the backs of your legs. Coming to a hovering 4-point kneeling position with the knees hovering just off the floor. Relax the knees to the floor. Drag the weight forward over your wrists and find that kneeling up dog. Try to lengthen from your pubic bone towards your breastbone so that you're really getting a nice stretch into the lower belly, and almost think of the shoulders dropping away from your ears as you come into the stretch. Lift the kneecaps up off the floor. Rotate slightly to the left, almost knife edging both feet as you peek over the left shoulder. Ease your way back to center and repeat on the other side. Find your way back to your up dog, then start piking the bum up to the ceiling. Stretch the top of your toes before tucking under and finding your down dog. Trying to drop as low as you can through the heels. Trying to connect as much of the whole foot to the floor as you can comfortably manage. Getting a beautiful stretch into the front and the back chain of the body, while keeping the crown nice and heavy to the floor. Almost pushing the head through the hands as if you wanted to float your nose towards your knees. Bend softly through the knees and push your bum back towards your heels, coming into a relaxed dog. Ease your way softly to a hovering 4-point kneel, strong through the shoulders. Drop down to 4-point kneeling. We're going to work a modified chaturanga to get onto the belly. Bend the elbows, keep hugging them in towards the ribs, and ease your way softly down onto the belly. As you get onto the belly, place the hands palms down on the mat. Fingertips nice spread, nice and wide. With the fingertips maybe just in front of the shoulder line, we're going to work a little cobra line from here. Nod your head to the mat, connecting your nose and your forehead softly to the mat. And just take a couple of recovery breaths, keeping your elbows tucked in towards the rib cage as we play. Pretend that you've got a little marble underneath your nose. Begin rolling the marble away from you to the front of the mat, articulating up slowly, one rib at a time, and stopping, holding your frame just before the bottom rib disengages from the mat. Hold your frame, look for extension from the mid-back towards the nape of your neck, not throwing the head back, keeping your gaze softly down so that you can feel that added extension into the nape of your neck. Then draw the hands back slightly so that you're alongside your bosom. Push up into an up dog. Tuck your toes under this time. Push the weight back into your heels and hold the stretch. Then bend the right knee, anchor it into the floor, and extend the left leg and the right arm long and lengthened, giving me a long line through the arm, the neck, the back, and the leg. Tap your extended fingertips and toes to the mat and draw back to your long extended line. Stay or find tiger stretch by bending your floating back leg, reaching opposite hand to foot, squaring up through the shoulders and the hips, kicking the foot into the hand, thinking dancer, keeping your neckline in neutral or gently curving to look up towards the ceiling. Push it back from here into child pose. Arms long and lengthened in front of you. Find your way back to your 4-point kneeling frame. Bend through the elbows, but keep hugging them in towards the ribs as you find your way down into the belly. Find your cobra line with your fingertips just in front of the shoulder blades. Roll that marble away, start peeling up. Find your baby cobra line. Keep the legs soft and relaxed in parallel behind you. Keep the bottom rib connected to the mat and focus on that extension through the mid-back area. Then holding that cobra line, draw your fingertips back slightly so that your palms are alongside your bosom. Tuck your toes under. See if you can keep the knees off the floor or bend them if you need support as you come into your modified up dog, pushing the weight back into your heels. Looking for that extension all the way from your lower back towards the nape of your neck. Then bend the left knee, anchor it into the floor, and extend the left arm and the right leg. Looking for that long line through the arm, the neck, the back, and the leg. Tap the toes and the fingertips of your extended limbs to the mat, and then draw back to your extended line. Keep looking for length through the limbs. Stay or ease your way into tiger by bending that floating back leg, squaring up through the shoulders and the hips. Think dancer, kicking the foot into the hand, keeping your neckline in neutral, or arcing slightly to point your chin up towards the ceiling. Ease your way from here back into child pose, big toes together, knees open nice and wide as you take an extended stretch. Ease your way from here into a down dog frame. And then soften the right knee, kick up the right leg behind you, finding a 3-legged dog, bracing into the heels of both feet. We're coming into a crescent lunge on the right from here. Think knee to nose on the right, stepping up to the inside of the right hand, relax the back knee and foot. And as you come up, float the hands behind you, reaching long and lengthened through the fingertips, or interlace them behind you, dropping the knuckles down towards the floor, floating the 2 shoulder blades together and the elbows together behind your back. Ease your way from here back into a down dog frame. Pause. Let's repeat on the left. Soften the left knee, kick up the left leg behind you, finding that brace into both heels. Think knee to nose, step it up, find your crescent lunge line, make sure you've got knee over ankle on the lead leg, relax the back knee, relax the back foot, peel up along the center line, floating the hands behind you, almost dropping those knuckles down towards the floor as you find your line. Ease your way from here back to your down dog frame. Take a little extended stretch here, and then step or hop towards the front of your mat, maybe coming onto the tips of your fingers, hopping up and coming into a soft forward fold, trying to connect both hands to the mat if you can, or maybe bracing against your shins or the top of your thighs. You could even perhaps reach for a block, place it on the mat in front of you, and find a comfortable lean-in position. Fold it forward and hold that stretch. Trying to keep the weight bearing equal on the balls and the heels of your feet. We're going to come into a little standing, balancing and stretching series from here, and you might need a strap for this one. Heel toe your feet in, trying to connect your big toes and your ankles, and ragdoll style peel up along the center line. Find a drishti or a focal point on the wall in front of you. Think knee to nose on the right, and then extend the right leg out in front of you as if you wanted to kick the wall away. Maybe holding it for about 10 seconds if you can, trying to stretch the back chain of the right leg. Then think knee to nose. Take your middle index finger and thumb and see if you can reach for the big toe on the right foot. Coming into extension, or if you find that you can't bind to the foot, maybe looping a hand towel or a strap around the foot, holding on to your prop with your right hand and finding extension. On the supportive side, you've either got the arm long and lengthened, braced on your hip, or you can T-frame the arm for support. Experiment and see what works for you. Try to hold it steady for at least 10 seconds in the A line. And then if this feels good, maybe opening up to the side of the room in the B position. Only opening up as far as your body wants to play. As you peel back towards the center line, you're going to bring yourself into tree pose, front view. You're either going to place the sole of your foot low to the floor with the big toe connected to the mat, or you can slide up with the whole foot just underneath the knee, or if you're feeling good, you can bring that foot all the way to the inseam of your supported leg and just bring your hands to a gentle prayer in front of your heart. Try to look for stillness as you come into tree. The whole time keeping your eye trained on that focal point. Step both feet together if you can and fold it forward. Maybe brushing your hands down the top of your thighs. Aiming to connect the whole hand to the floor if you can. Finding that beautiful midway point between the balls of you and the heels of your feet where you can really feel maximum stretch up the back chain of your legs. Beautiful little soft inversion of the blood in the head. When you're ready, soften the knees if you need to, and roll back up to your standing frame to repeat the sequence on the other side. Think knee to nose on the left. Hands either long and lengthened at your side or maybe braced on the hips as you extend the left leg out in front of you, trying to hold for maybe 10 seconds. Then think knee to nose. Take your middle index finger and thumb like a little crab pincer. Find your big toe lock on the left big toe, your Padangusthasana lock. And when you're ready, coming into extension, Uttita Hasta Padangusthasana A, hand to big toe A. Holding the position, your supported hand either long and lengthened at your side, or hands braced on the hips, or T-framing the arm. When you're ready, open up into the B position, trying to keep shoulder over hip, hip over knee, knee over ankle on your supportive side. As you come back towards the center line, float into the tree line of your choice and keep your hands in prayer. Remember that it's your straight, stabilizing leg that's pushing into the passive sole of your bent knee leg. Look for stillness, look for quiet, look for control. Step both feet together. This time as you fold forward, try to brush the hands down the back chain of your legs, maybe reaching for the calves, maybe placing one palm over the other and pulling in with the calves, trying to bring the crown of your head closer towards your shin bones as you fold forward to intensify your Uttanasana forward fold stretch. Look for that weight bearing equal between the balls and the heels of your feet. Softly ragdoll style, peel back up. We're going to change it slightly as we come into the same little standing balancing sequence on the right. Think knee to nose and extend the leg out in front, holding for maybe 10 soft seconds, looking for stillness and control. This time, as you bend the knee back, you're going to try to overlay one hand over the other, reaching for the undercarriage of your foot, and then extending the leg out in front. Maybe keeping a micro bend in your supportive leg. Then keep holding opposite hand to foot. Float the right arm behind you, reaching long and lengthened. Come back towards the center line and morph into dancer by bending that right leg, right hand to right foot. Squeeze the two knees softly together. Float the left arm overhead. And then hinge forward from the waist. Kick the back foot into your back hand. So try to give me distance between the bum and the heel. The floor, floating both feet together and coming back into your forward fold, brushing the hands down the back chain of your legs. Maybe making a little lattice with the hands, squeezing the calves in and thinking nose to shin bones. Peel back up into a high standing frame. Find your drishti or your focal point on the wall in front of you. Extend the left leg out in front, maybe holding for 10 soft seconds if you can. Then think knee to nose. Overlay the two hands, reaching for the undercarriage of your foot. And extending the leg out in front. Keeping a micro bend in your supportive leg. Keep holding opposite hand to leg. Think standing arrow and float the one hand behind you. Maybe keeping your gaze on that drishti in front of you. Then come back to center. Set up your dancer line. Squeezing the two knees softly into center and floating your right hand alongside your ear. Fold forward. Kicking your foot into your hand as you find dancer Uttarayasana. Stepping both feet together. Folding forward. Maybe brushing down the back chain of your legs. Maybe stepping your fingertips past your feet this time. Fingertips looking in the opposite direction to your toes and trying to stretch maybe a little bit closer towards the floor. Hold your little forward fold. And then ease your way from here into a plank line. Using the knees if you need to. We're going to chaturanga down onto the belly. We're going to come into a locust line. The arms are long and lengthened at your side. Back of the hands connected to the mat and the palms looking up with your forehead connected to the mat. We're coming into the full locust expression. Pretend you've got a little marble underneath your nose. Start rolling the marble away. Think of that cobra line we played with earlier on. As you peel up into your cobra line, float the arms and the legs off the mat so that you're resting on your lower belly area and the hip bones, reaching long and lengthened through your fingertips, your toes, and the crown of your head. Trying to hold a slightly hollow frame through the back. If this is too much, bring your body line closer to the floor and think Superman. When you're ready, softly peel back down to your resting frame, nodding that marble underneath your nose, and taking a few soft recovery breaths. Coming back into locust or working the next progression, bow pose, Dhanurasana. For the bow, you're going to bend one knee at a time, reaching back for the front of your ankle bone, bracing into the foot on both sides, trying to square up through the knees and the hips. The rest of the roll-up mimics the locust line that you played with in the previous round. Keeping that grip on the forefront of your ankles, find that little marble, begin rolling it away. Float your knees up, float the arms up towards the ceiling, trying to give me more of a hollow frame through the spine. Maybe gently rocking between the hip bones and the belly button, or finding a midway point that's comfortable for you and holding the frame, trying to increase that arc in the spine and floating the whole soles of your feet up as high towards the ceiling as you can comfortably manage. Peel your way softly back down to the mat, retuck that marble underneath your nose, and take a couple of soft recovery breaths. Then keeping the legs attached to the floor behind you, just focus on your trunk and your head. Find that imaginary marble underneath your nose, begin rolling it away. Find your baby cobra line and try to use your back strength to hold the frame, keeping the bottom ribs softly connected to the mat and looking for that extension through the spine. Hold the frame steady and see if you can morph into Sphinx pose by bending your left arm, dropping down onto the forearm on the left and then the right. As you come into position, push off the forearms and the elbows and try to look for even more length from the mid-back towards the nape of your neck, keeping your gaze softly down on the mat between your two palms. Then softly extend the arms on the mat in front of you, retuck that marble underneath your nose, and take a couple of soft recovery breaths here. We're coming into an extended cobra, and then we're going to use the cobra to set up a soft mini half frog. Find that little marble underneath your nose, roll it away, start peeling up into your cobra line. Bottom ribs still connected into the mat. Float your right arm in so that the forearm is parallel to the front of the mat. Brace into that forearm and bend the left leg. Reach back with the left hand. Use the L frame between your index finger and thumb to grip around the foot, and then pushing from the bridge of your foot, try to bring that heel in as close towards your bum as you can comfortably manage, with your elbow looking up towards the ceiling, bracing softly into your supportive right hand. Soften through the glute, the quad, and the hamstring on that left leg. Then release it, come back into a long extended line, retucking that marble underneath your nose and finding a couple of soft recovery breaths. We're going to repeat that stretch on the other side. Find that marble, roll it away, peel up into your baby cobra line. Float the left arm in, find your soft brace. Bend the right knee, point the toes up to the ceiling, and then reach back with the right arm, using that L shape to brace around the front of your foot, pushing down on the front of your toes or maybe the bridge of your foot, allowing your right elbow to float up to the ceiling. Keep bracing off your supportive hand. Ease your way softly back onto the belly. Take a couple of soft breaths here. We're coming into a swan hold. Bend your elbows, draw the palms alongside your body, this time lower than your breast line, so somewhere between the bottom of your rib cage and your breast line, with the palms firmly connected to the mat and the elbows tucked in to center. We're coming up slowly. Find that little marble underneath your nose and begin rolling it away. Articulate up really slowly, one rib at a time, and stop with your bottom three ribs heading into the mat, anchoring through your hip bones and dropping the shoulders and the elbows away from your ears. Pause here, looking for length through the spine. Stay or keep coming up, pushing up a little bit higher, coming to rest on your belly button. Pause. Push up a little bit higher, coming to rest on the 2 hip bones. Pause. Keep dropping the shoulders from your ears. Push up, coming to rest on your pubic bone. A little bit higher, resting on the tops of your thighs. Higher still, coming into full extension with the arms fully extended, resting on your kneecaps and the heels of your hands. Come back down with the same amount of control. Bending softly through the elbows, connect first just the tops of your thighs. Then your pubic bone, the 2 hip bones, the belly button, the bottom 3 ribs. The rest of the rib cage follows. Retucking that marble underneath your nose. Push back into child pose, taking a long recovery stretch, pushing into your hands, sinking your heels back as close towards your bottom line as you can comfortably manage. Then peel up, find a soft down dog-like frame, and change your orientation on the mat by stepping your right leg up or your left leg and come into a wide standing straddle on the mat. Opening up the legs into a soft parallel line so the feet are not splayed out at 45. You've got to wrap around from your big toe around the baby toe, around the heel of your foot. Either standing up nice and tall with the hands gently braced on the tops of your thighs, or maybe fingertips softly connected to the mat. Open up the legs as wide as you can comfortably manage. Keep that parallel stance on the feet, and then creep your hands to the right and come into a soft lunge line on the right, maybe tucking the toes of the back leg under so that both sets of feet are looking to the front of your mat. Maybe gently swaying back and forth and just finding that opening through the groin. Then come into Skandasana, a low side lunge, by bringing both feet in, finding that parallel line that you had in Prasarita and dropping your hands as low to the mat as you can. If you're comfortable here, you could maybe even bring your hands to prayer in front of your heart, or maybe open and float both sets of fingertips long and lengthened. Come back towards the center line, squaring up through both feet, trying to open up a little bit wider to the floor. Creep to the left, both sets of feet looking towards the back edge of your mat. Find your gentle side lunge, sway back and forth. Find that opening through the groin, and then when you're ready, square up through both feet, maybe dropping nice and low, maybe even bringing the toes of that extended foot off the mat. Finding your way into prayer, or maybe floating the arms long and lengthened. Ease your way back into Prasarita, and then find your way into a deep squat by heel-toeing the feet in, keeping the feet as narrow or as wide as you need to come into a prayer-like position, using the elbow points to gently push on the inside of your knees and dropping as low to the mat as you can comfortably manage. Hold your line. From here, you're gently going to lean back. Feet are open nice and wide, a little bit wider than mat width distance apart. You're going to drop both knees to the left, to the right, alternating side to side in a soft undulating motion. You're going to stop with both knees dropped to the right, float up, connect both sets of fingertips to the mat, and flutter the back knee just off the mat. Ease your way from here into butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, and flap the knees up and down, bracing your hands on the mat behind you as you open up softly through the groin. Then wiggle walk your bum closer towards your heels, pushing off your fingertips and holding the stretch, trying to bring the heels in as close towards your perineum as you can comfortably manage. Find easy sit on the right, tucking the right foot in front of the left, tucking both heels in as close towards the perineum as you can comfortably manage. Place your fingertips or your palms or your forearms on the mat and gently fold forward, or perhaps reach for a block. Play with the dimensions of the block and find a comfortable lean-in position that works for you. Just hold that stretch. If you can, ease your way onto the forearms. Push off the forearms and sink your bum bones back as if somebody was pulling your whole hip line away from you. Ease your way up the center line. Place your right palm on the inside of the right knee. Place the left fingertips on the floor behind you and just push the right knee softly away, dropping down to maybe rotate slightly and look over the back shoulder. Place both sets of fingertips on the mat behind you. Open up the legs, drop the soles of your feet to the mat, and start that alternating side to side knee drop, working dynamically, exhaling every time you drop the knees, and then inhaling as you transition. Stop with both knees dropped to the left, square up through the hips, and float, flap or flutter that back knee off the mat. Ease your way from here into butterfly pose, bringing the soles of your feet together, flapping the knees softly out like a little butterfly flapping its wings. Then start creeping your bum line closer towards your heels. Push off your fingertips, finding a squeeze of your belly button in towards center while you drop the shoulders away from your ears. Tuck into easy sit, Sukhasana, leaning with the left leg in front of the right, and find the forward fold hold that works for you. Think Sphinx, softly pushing off the forearms, trying to draw your hips back so that you can feel that stretch on the lead leg. Peel up along the center line, place your left palm on the inside of the left knee, and rotate slightly off center to the right, pushing or bearing down on the inside of that left leg as you twist softly to the right. Peel your way back to center. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet, and find that side to side knee drop. Exhaling every time you drop the knees and inhaling to transition. Stop with both knees dropped to the right, square up through the shoulders and the hips, and find that little floating flutter on the left knee. Hold. See if you can float the leg behind you, maybe reaching for the foot and taking it into a modified tiger. As you squeeze the foot in, resist with the hand so that you can feel that stretch. Ease your way back into a butterfly line. This time using your elbow points to push the inside of the knees away. Arms are extended in front of you. Fingertips reaching long and lengthened for the wall in front of you. Pulling your belly button softly in to center. Tuck your way from here into a half lotus line this time, trying to take your whole right foot and bringing the right heel to the inside of the left hip bone. If you can't comfortably find the stance, maybe you could take a block and tuck it underneath the thigh of the right leg for support. If all else fails, come back into easy sit and just repeat your easy sit stretch that we did in the first round. Take your right hand, push the right knee away as you softly rotate to look over the left shoulder. Hold that stretch for a few seconds, trying to open up nicely on the inside of the right hip bone into the groin area. Then keeping that half lotus line, softly fold forward, trying to ease your way onto the forearms. As you peel up, uncross the legs, place the soles of your feet on the floor, knees bent, and find that side to side knee drop, working dynamically with your breath. Stop with both knees drop to the left, square up through the shoulders and the hips, and find your knee flutter on the back leg. Ease your way from here back into your butterfly line, bringing the soles of the feet together, using your elbow points to push open on the inside of your knees, keeping your arms long and lengthened, fingertips looking away from you. Tuck into your half lotus line on the left, trying to bring the left heel as close to the inside of the right hip bone as you can. Use the left hand to softly push that left knee away as you softly rotate to the right, looking off that back shoulder, using nice little spider fingertips on the mat behind you to keep the spine nice and long. Come back into your high seat and give me that little knee drop side to side. Stop with both knees to the right. Take it to the left. Give me that little knee flutter. And then try to float the back leg up off the mat, reaching for that back foot. Giving me almost a floating tiger, pushing the back of the foot into your hand, resisting with the hand. Open up into a wide seated straddle from here. Legs as wide as you can comfortably manage. Placing your fingertips or your palms or your forearms on the floor. And finding a soft forward fold. Bracing into the feet of both legs so that the inner thighs stay active as we come into the forward fold. Peel up along the center line. Keep your right leg extended. Bend the left leg. Place the sole of the left leg on the inside of the right leg. And then try to overlay one hand over the other, crossing at the wrists and reaching for the undercarriage of your foot, or maybe taking a block, tucking it underneath the foot and pulling in, or maybe using the block as a prop on an inside. Or if you've got a belt or a hand towel, you could loop it over the feet and still try to cross at the wrists as you come into the stretch. Hold your modified forward fold, trying to bend the elbows softly away from the center line and drop your nose closer towards your knee line, holding that stretch. Then keeping the left hand crossed over the right foot, softly float the right fingertips behind you. Bend the right knee, think knee to nose, and then come into a soft heron twist, extending the leg out in front and bracing with your right fingertips gently on the mat behind you. Then keeping that bind on the left, cross the right hand over the left, trying to look your nose towards the big toe of the right leg. Keep holding onto the arch of your right foot with your right hand and float in the opposite direction, taking the twist softly to the left, placing your left fingertips softly on the mat behind you. Open back up into your wide seated straddle. Drop your fingertips to the mat, softly creeping forward onto the forearms or the palms, using your block if you need to. Brace into both heels. The hips should feel beautifully open now. As you peel up along the center line, keep your left leg extended. Place the sole of the right foot on the inside of the left leg. cross at the wrists and see if you can reach for the undercarriage of your left foot, thinking nose to knee, flaring the elbows out to the side of the room as you softly hold your modified head to knee Janu Sirsasana. Keeping opposite hand to foot, twist softly towards the left. Maybe bending the left leg, coming into your twisted heron pose, bracing the left fingertips on the mat behind you while holding onto the undercarriage of the left foot with your right hand. Then overlay the left arm on top of the right. Try to lengthen as much as you can, keeping an almost L-like shape on your spine and dropping the shoulders away from your ears. And when you're ready, take the twist in the opposite direction, holding left hand to the inside of your left foot, so holding onto the arch of your left foot as you twist softly to the right. Ease your way back into center, finding your way into easy sit, or maybe coming back into your wide seated straddle, floating your hands to prayer in front of your heart, taking your focus inward, and just thanking yourself for making time to come and play on the mat today. Namaste to you all. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed today's class. Remember to shoot me your comments and your feedback. Use the display below or reach out to me on social media. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.